me go ahead and turn down the music. We're gonna go into full cast mode. Alrighty. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are to the cast. Go ahead and turn this up just a little bit. Alright, first game is gonna be mine versus effOrt in the bottom left-hand corner in the brown. Sorry. Yeah, in the brown is... No, that's white. Sorry, guys. I'm so, colorblind right now. So, in the bottom right, in the brown, that is gonna be mine. And in the bottom right... Oh my god, it's the bottom left. Oh, you guys. Okay, we're gonna restart that because that was full retard. Okay, guys. I was busy playing with the overlay and messed up. Whoa, okay. Jumping into the first game, it's gonna be mine versus effOrt. It looks like it's gonna be on Circuit Breaker, pretty standard map. I hope Jaedong moves his little advertisement so we can actually see the mini map. But to announce the players, in the bottom left-hand corner in the white, that is going to be Mind, who has been playing very excellent lately. And against him, in the bottom right-hand corner, in the brown, one of the fastest Zergs around, but has been kind of in a slump as of recent. It is going to be effOrt. And I expect to see a lot of aggression coming out from effOrt. effOrt has always been a big fan of playing that very aggressive mid-game style in ZVT. He likes to go for lurker contains. He likes to go for very aggressive Ling builds that get speed before lair, things like that. But if anybody can deal with it, it's Mine. Mine was well known for his his TVZ back in the day. Recently, I haven't been as impressed with his TVZ compared to his TVP and his TVT, but either way, I think if there's anybody who can deal with that, it's going to be Mine. Mine is ready for anything that can come at him. So, looks like we're going to be having a standard opening, as always. I always, preface with, oh, it just looks like standard opening, because literally this matchup has been discovered, it has been studied, and understood down to the T. I actually am going to put on a little bit of live music in the background. Actually, no, I'm not. Nobody needs music. Music's not fun. So we'll just have to listen to Jaedong's beautiful voice and whoever else he's talking with. So here comes the expansion for effOrt. Standard timing with that 12 hatch. And Terran's going to be going for the gasless fast expand. As I was saying, this matchup has been so refined over the years and so completely perfected that there really isn't a lot of surprise in the early game. Almost always, both players will be going for this sort of things. Occasionally, you'll see something crazy, like a 9 pull from the Zerg. Very, very occasionally, you'll see like a 4 pull. And that's only a counter to a CC first build, which is also pretty rare. Almost always, you'll see this barracks into CC with no gas. It's pretty standard. You'll also occasionally see the Terran go for some gas shenanigans where they get an early dropship or early wraiths and just try to do a lot of pressure onto the Zerg player and prevent their tech for a long time. And it kind of screws with a lot of Zerg players that aren't used to that type of style because they've been doing this gasless expand for so long. They're not really prepared for how to respond to drops and factory units in their main. Which, by the way, the answer is a fast hydrogen. Fast hydrogen covers pretty much all of that. Deals with the drops well. It deals with vultures. And it can also lead into a very nice counterattack with Lings and Hydras if your opponent decides to switch into mech. But in any case, we are going to be having a standard ZVT opening. It looks like effOrt went for that 3 hatch. He's probably going to be going into the 3... He's probably going to be going into the 3 hatch mutaplay that we like to always talk about. And from there going to the lurkers and things like that. Is Mind going to go for the double racks build, or is he going to be content with going into the +1 5 racks? We'll have to see what he decides to do with that build. If he goes for the 2 racks variant, it's much more aggressive early on. It can hit a timing right before the mutalisks get out at lair. Otherwise, +1 5 racks it hits a little bit later. It doesn't have as much pressure on the map early on, But what happens is as soon as +1 finishes and that first group of Marine medic gets out on the map, they're really scary. They can deal with Lings and Mutalisks very, very well. They completely annihilate them. And from that point on, basically Terran can just keep pumping units and prevent Zerg from ever actually taking the bases that they'd like to make. It does look like Mind decided not to go for the 2 racks. I see a building in his main, which might be that engineering bay. Alternatively, you can go for a very standard 3 racks build where you just go for the academy afterwards and go into a standard Marine medic push, but I don't know if I necessarily like that all that much, but it is something that is seen occasionally. It's something to look out for. Jaedong is really happy. Pretty interesting play by effOrt here. Instead of trying to corral the SCV out of the base, he's actually just keeping it away from the ramp and building his lair down on this low ground. So the SCV really didn't see much in the base, but either way, I think Mind has a pretty good idea that the lair probably went down in the natural. So he knows this is going to be just a standard opening. I don't think we saw a Hydroden, though, so it's not going to be lurkers. It's probably just going to be straight into the spire. Hopefully Jaedong will look at the bases soon so we can see what's going on. And there we have lots of units down in the natural. This is not a ton of Marines, but this is what you normally get when you start open with only that single racks building stuff. And the number of racks that Mind goes up to is really going to determine how aggressive he's going to be in the mid game. If he goes up to 4 racks, he's going to be 4 racks plus. He's going to be very aggressive. He's going to do lots of pushing. If it's only 3 racks, you can definitely see him tech up faster to science vessels to drop play and things like that. So he can just get to the late game and break the Zerg hive tech before it actually gets up. However, that style has kind of gone out of favor. Going for the fast hive tech just straight up dies to a lot of Terran builds these days. So these days, you'll usually see a very heavy mid game coming out from the Zerg player. You won't see that kind of very safe play where they passive play where the Zerg will just sit back on static defense and try to never move. But anyhow, Mind is getting all of his units out. I think he went up to 5 racks, so this is the +1 5 racks that's going to be coming out. And that should be getting very aggressive pretty soon. Now, I like what effOrt is doing. effOrt still hasn't taken his third quite yet. He's going to wait until he has some of the tools to defend against it. Looks like he's actually planning to take it up in the top right. He's actually going to take it very early. It's surprising to do versus the 5 racks. Of course, he doesn't really know necessarily that it's the 5 racks until he sees the +1, and then he'll know for sure. But in any case, he's going to be hard-pressed to actually defend that base. He's doing a good job of trying to cut in with these Lings and force his opponent back. But Mind has this bunker here, and he has a really good positioning on the ramp, so he's going to be okay from any sort of early counterattack. And here are the Mutalisks here to just kind of ward this away and cut in between this army. Now, this is one of those beautiful plays that good Zergs will do, is they'll actually just place their army right in between the expeditionary force, the first Marine medic force that goes out, and the second one, and just try to prevent them from ever actually coalescing and coming together. Hey, my gosh, is it a friendly game? I don't know. This is a small little team clan war type thing, so I assume it's friendly. They did this on stream. And very nicely done from effOrt. He got a lot of free kills over there. He did lose a couple of Lings there for free, which isn't great, but the important thing is all of this bought a lot of time for his third base to actually get up. And as soon as he actually gets his lurkers up there on the ramp, he's going to be pretty safe. Mind may choose to go into the SK Terran style with double starport, but again, shaving off a sizable number of Marines, and this force is just, it's not really reaching the critical mass it needs to actually threaten that third base. Mind is still going to push out anyway, but you can see there's tons of Lings still pouring across the map. Hive on the way, Lurkers should be out quite shortly. Very nice snipe there from Mind to grab that Overlord. And he's got another army in his main, so that's really impressive, but basically effOrt is just trying to buy as much time as possible so he can get this third base up uncontested. He doesn't want to trade too many lings in this, but again, here's the cut in between. This is really nice positional play from effOrt. He's going to actually threaten all the way into the natural with a counterattack. And I love this so much because as much as mine really wants to push out, he can't. He can never actually get out on the map and threaten that third base for fear of a counterattack. Even though he's got a lot of racks pumping stuff out, it's very easy to actually snipe all of those units with the Mutalisk as long as effOrt plays it well. But here comes the big surround. This isn't the greatest engagement from effOrt, but I think he should be able to clean it up with the last of these Mutalisks. Oh, he actually didn't kill off all the Marines before the Lings went away, so he ended up taking a little bit more damage on those Mutalisks than expected, and that's going to thin out his count quite a bit. But the important thing is he saved the third base. The third base is officially up. He's got lurkers out, so he's going to be able to defend that base pretty nicely. He's already on his way to Hive Tech as well. Honestly, I would like at this point in time for effOrt to just pull back, play defensively, and make sure that he doesn't die to drops. Go ahead and put a subgroup of Lings up in your third base with a pair of Scourge. Put a pair, at least 1 or 2 pairs of Scourge in your main to deflect any drops, and just play safely. You don't need to control the middle of the map anymore. You've got all the tools that you need to defend against Bio, so there's no real reason to continue doing this aggression. You have the lurkers on the high ground, you have the lurkers in your natural, and all you have to do is stop any sort of drop play from coming in. Surely he suspects this. He hasn't seen any tanks or anything coming out, so he knows that it's probably going to be that SK Terran style with the double star report. And what's really interesting about seeing modern ZVT is how little Zerg actually cares about scouting the Terran main. You get all of the tells that you need just by checking out the units and their upgrades, as well as just counting the units. How many units does my opponent have? Is he switching into tanks, etc., etc.? And using just that information, Zerg is basically able to scout out anything that Terran is going to do. Doesn't really need to get into the main, doesn't even necessarily have to do damage to the SEVs, as long as he's keeping the Terran home, trying to defend against stuff. But here come the first 2 Science Vessel, and effOrt losing a couple of Mutals, not the greatest play there. But now he's going to go for the counterattack, maybe, now that he knows that this push is headed his way. No Sunkens in his natural. This could actually be really bad. I hope he has at least 1 Defiler with Consume up. Otherwise, this is actually just going to straight up end the game. This is so many Marines, and with the Science Vessels, the Irradiates are going to clean up those lurkers very quickly. He has a funny little trick where he has the Overlord hiding over 2 lurkers, but with a good split and a stem, there's a very good chance that mine can actually just break this. There goes the first 2 lurkers, and that's going to go down. But there is a swarm down there, but I'm not sure if he still has a lurker underneath that. So I think this is basically just gonna be forfeit. There goes the natural, and as long as mine just plays around this, he can deal with any number of Lings that come out. He's going to be 100% fine, and the Hive is going to go down. This is absolutely disastrous for effOrt. I think effOrt is just going to outright lose this game. He was so focused on trying to do that Mutalisk micro and all that clever play over there by the natural that he didn't have anything to defend his base, and there's the GG. Mine taking the first game in a pretty anticlimactic fashion.